In today's video, I'm going to share the 9 companies that paid me a dividend last month, and we're starting right here with Verizon, who paid me $25.99. At the time of this recording, Verizon Communications is trading for $35.87 a share. Year to date, they're down in share price by over 10%. They've got a forward PE of 7.73, and right now they're paying $2.61 for each share that you own. Looking at the dividend grades, pretty solid overall with a C in dividend safety, 18 years of dividend growth, a 5-year dividend growth rate of 2.04%, and a payout ratio of 51.74%. And check out that dividend yield, 7.2% right now. And looking at the 10-year total return for Verizon, we can see not so great when stacked up against the S&P 500 at only 17.72%. And this is why I sold out of my position of Verizon, and this will be the last dividend that I receive from them. AT&T, ticker symbol is T, and they paid $41.67 in dividends last month. Presently trading for $15.95, and year to date is down in share price by 14.17%. The PE is 6.63, and they're presently paying out $1.11 for each share that you own. Some pretty solid dividend grades overall with a C- in safety. And as we know, last year they cut their dividend, which is why we see a negative 5-year dividend growth rate of negative 5.78% and 0 years of dividend growth. The payout ratio, however, is 43.7, and the dividend yield is pretty solid at 6.89%. But when we look at the 10-year total return for AT&T, we see only 8.08%, which is why this is another company that I sold out of in the last month, so this will be the last dividend I receive from AT&T. But not before bringing those dividend totals up to $67.66. The next payment received was from the JP Morgan Equity Premium Income ETF, also known as JEPI, and the 60 shares that I own paid me out $25.22. This ETF is presently trading for $53.85, and year-to-date is down in share price by 1.14%. That does have an expense ratio, however, of 0.35%. The dividend is paid monthly, and right now, the dividend rate is $6.19 annually for each share that you own. Looking at those dividend grades, we see that Seeking Alpha is giving JEPI an A+, for that dividend yield, an A- in dividend growth, and a B in dividend growth rate. But they've only been providing the dividend for 2 years because it's only been in existence for that period of time. Dividend yield is 11.39%. And for JEPI, we're only going to look at the last 3 years total return, and it's just about hanging with an S&P 500. And with that additional dividend payment from JEPI, it brings my total up to $92.88. A relatively new position for me is Lowe's. Ticker symbol is LOW, and I received $11.95 for the 13 shares that I own. Lowe's is presently trading for $203.63, and year-to-date is actually up in share price by 4.48%. The forward PE is 15.16, and right now, Lowe's is paying out $4.20 for each share that you own. Looking at the dividend grades for Lowe's, Seeking Alpha gives its safety score a D+, C- in both growth and yield, and an A+ in consistency. And those grades are all relative to those companies also traded within the consumer discretionary sector. If we look further at the dividend summary, we can see 59 years of dividend growth, a 5-year dividend growth rate, which is phenomenal, at 20.69%, payout ratio is only 30.24%, and there's a dividend yield of 2.03%. And the 10-year total return for Lowe's far surpasses that of the S&P 500, more than doubling it. And that payment from Lowe's brings me to a new total of $104.83. The next company to pay me is also a monthly payer, and it's Realty Income. Ticker symbol is O, and I received $26.17 for the 102 shares that I presently own. O is presently trading for $59.09, and year-to-date is down in share price by 6.16%. The price to funds from operations is 14.6, and right now, Realty Income is paying out $3.06 for each share that you own. Compared to other companies traded in the real estate sector, Seeking Alpha awards Realty Income with a safety score of B, a growth score of B+, an A+ in consistency, and a dividend yield score of C. There are 26 years of dividend growth, a 5-year dividend growth rate of 3.76%, a 208.88% payout ratio, and a 5.09% dividend yield. And the 10-year total return for Realty Income is just a little bit over half that of the S&P 500. But with the dividends received from Realty Income, that brings me up to $131 for the month so far. Next up is AbbVie, and the ticker symbol is ABBV, and I presently own 33.5 shares and received $47.47 in dividend payments. AbbVie is presently trading for $141.15, and year-to-date is down in share price by 12.23%. The forward PE is 12.96, and AbbVie pays out $5.92 for each share that you own. Looking at the dividends, we've got a B plus in safety, an A in both growth and yield, and a B in consistency, as compared to other companies traded within the healthcare sector. AbbVie has 9 years of dividend growth, a 5-year dividend growth rate of 14.53%, payout ratio of 44.16%, and a dividend yield of 4.15%, and has a total return that far exceeds that of the S&P 500. And with that payment from AbbVie, I'm up to $178.47. Next up is another monthly payer, Main Street Capital. I presently own 94 shares and received a dividend payment of $21.04. Presently trading for $39.22, Main Street Capital is actually up in share price by 6.44%. The forward PE is 9.95, and the dividend rate is $2.70 for each share that you own. Dividend grades compared to those companies traded in the financial sector, with a C plus in safety, an A minus in growth, an A in yield, and a B minus in consistency. With 2 years of dividend growth, a 5-year dividend growth rate of 2.87%, and a payout ratio of 73.32%, Main Street Capital has a dividend yield of 6.9% and a 10-year total return that beats the S&P 500. With that additional $21, I'm up to $199.51. Next up is Procter & Gamble. We presently own 15.3 shares and receive $14.38 in dividend income. Presently trading for $146.33, Procter & Gamble is down in share price by 3.46%. The forward PE is 25.10, and the dividend rate is $3.76 for each share that you own. Seeking Alpha gives dividend grades of B in safety, A in growth, C minus in yield, and an A plus in consistency as compared to those companies traded within the consumer staple sector. This dividend king has been growing their dividend for the last 66 years, has a 5-year dividend growth rate of 5.73%, a payout ratio of 63.64%, and a dividend yield of 2.55%, and has a 10-year total return of 154.82%. And with that payment from Procter & Gamble, I'm up to $213.89. Next up is Arbor Realty Trust. The ticker symbol is ABR, and we presently own 129 shares, so received $54.56 in dividend income. Arbor Realty Trust currently trades for $12.22, and year-to-date is down in share price by 7.38%. Forward PE is 8.21, and the dividend rate is $1.68 for each share that you own. There are 9 years of dividend growth, a 5-year dividend growth rate of 16.2%, and a payout ratio of 93.6%. And did I mention the dividend yield? 13.39%, probably one of the higher yielders in my portfolio. And when we look at the 10-year total return, we can see that Arbor Realty is handily beating that of the S&P 500. And with that, my grand total for last month is $268.45. Because each month in the dividend cycle is slightly different in terms of the number of companies that pays me each month, I like to look at the block of time in quarterly segments. So looking at quarter 3 of 2022, we see that I received $535.82 in dividend income. By quarter 4 of 2022, I was up to $690.26. By the end of quarter 1, 2023, I was at $842.49. And right now, for the first 2 months of this quarter, I'm at $540.49. So I'm pretty excited because I think June is going to be a really big month for me, and I'm hoping to far exceed that of last quarter. And one of my favorite visuals to look at is the monthly dividend income month over month, year over year. Those teal colored columns represent 2023 and the gray is 2022. And you can see that I only earned my very first dividend payment back in January of 2022 at 60 cents. So if I can do it, you guys, so can you. Now, because my strategy involves consistency without emotion, I do add to this portfolio every Monday and Tuesday. So I'm hoping to continue to grow the portfolio with my ultimate goal of receiving $3,500 this year in dividend income. How much did you earn in dividend income last month? Please leave me a comment below and let me know who your biggest payers were and even some of your smaller ones that might be a newer position that you've just added. I can't wait to hear from you guys. And then you can go and take a peek at this video next.